In this video, I'm going to show you how to multiply decimal numbers by multiples of 10. In a previous video, I told you how to multiply whole numbers by multiples of 10, so go and check that out. And also, I have a video on factors and multiples, which will explain to you what multiples are all about. So do go and check that out. I'll leave a link in the description box below so you can go and see both of those. So here, going back to this one, let's take a look at these numbers here. Question number 1. We have here 7 times 10. Now this is not a decimal number, but I just want to remind you of how we did do 7 times 10. So here we had 7 times 1, that would become 7. And then we had 1 0, so we added a 0 here. So the answer was 70. Now in question number 2, 5.6 times 10. So here, if we were to follow the same rule as we did with question number 1, we would say 5.6 times 1, which is 5.6. And then we times it by 10, where we have a 0, so we add a 0. But here you can see 5.60 is still the same as 5.6. It hasn't changed. In fact, I could add as many zeros as you wanted. It still wouldn't change the fact that we still have 5.6. And here, 5.6 times 10 was supposed to be a whole 10 times bigger, and this hasn't changed. So that means this is not right. So let's take a look at a place value grid to show you exactly what's going on visually. In order for a number to go from 1 to 10, we multiply 1 by 10. And to move from 10 to 100, we multiply by 10 again. And we continue to multiply by 10 each time as we go along the grid. So you can see we have as many zeros as the columns that we're in. So let's take a look at a million. We move 6 places, multiplying by 10 6 times, giving us 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'd arrive here. So let's use our question 2 to demonstrate what happens here. So we have 5.6. As you can see, the 5 is on the ones column and the 6 is on the other side of the decimal point. As we multiply the number by 10, the number shifts 1 place to the left. So the 5 was originally in the ones column, has now moved to the tens column, and the 6 has now moved to the ones column. So our answer is 56. And just to demonstrate this further, we're going to multiply 5.6 by 100. And we know that 100 is basically 10 times 10. So that means we're moving 10 times 10 2 times. Here's our original 5.6. We multiply it by 10, it will move 1 place. Multiply by another 10 to get that 100. But now we have a gap in the first column. So what we do is we add a placeholder, which is a 0. And now our answer becomes 560. Okay, so let's get back to our questions. So here in question 2, how would we do this without a grid? Okay, so we know that this is wrong, so let's just remove this, get rid of this. And let me show you how we will do this question without a grid. So we know that when we're timesing by 10, all the numbers are shifting 1 place to the left. It would get quite confusing and tedious to keep moving 1 number each. So there is a faster way, and that is to move the decimal place over 1 place to the right so that all the numbers have shifted to the left. So what we do is we think of the number of zeros we have will tell us how many times the decimal place will jump to the right. Think of it like a froggy doing lip jumps. So 1 circle is 1 rip jump to the right. So here, if you multiply by 10, you move the decimal place by 1 place to the right, which means that the numbers on the left will become 56 and the decimal place will be on the right here. Okay, so the answer we know is 56. Over to question number 3. It's 10 times 8.9. Here's our decimal number. Again, we look at the number of zeros that we're multiplying by. This here is 1. So we go to the decimal place and we do 1 jump to the right, leaving our answer to be 8, 9 on this side and the decimal place here. our answer is 89. And in question 4, similarly, we're going to be timesing by 10 again. So it's one jump of the decimal place to the right. So we go one jump here, and you can see that the decimal place will then stop between the 1 and the 8. So we have 21.8. In question 5, we now have 2 zeros, 73 times 100. This is not a decimal place, but this is just to remind you, similarly to question 1, where we had a whole number. Here we would have 73 times 1, and adding the 2 zeros, so you would get 7,300. But here in question 6, when we do 3.2 times 100, just like we were saying in question 2, we don't just add zeros now. Here we move the decimal place over. We have 2 zeros here, so we will move the decimal places by 2 jumps. So we will have 3 and 2 to the left, and you can see there's a gap here. This gap here would be a placeholder for 0, so we will add the 0. So 3.2 times 100 gives you 320. In question 7, we have 3 zeros when we multiply 0.88 times 1,000. So the decimal place will move 3 jumps to the right. 1, 2, 3. Again, we have a gap here, which we will fill with a placeholder. So now we have 0,880. But we don't need to write any of the leading zeros. So we will just write 8, 8, and then that 0 as the placeholder. So 0.88 times 1,000 is 880. And finally, in question number 8, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros in 10,000. So we're going to multiply 0.02 by 10,000, and with the 4 zeros, that's 4 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the decimal place will go to the right, and the numbers here, you'll have 0, 0, 2, and then some more zeros. As I said in question 7, you don't need to write their leading zeros. So we have the 2, that's there, and you've got 2 more gaps where there are no numbers. These will have the placeholders, so we add those zeros, and our answer is 200. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do like it and would like to see some more videos like this, then don't forget to share, like and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell notification so that you get informed every time I upload another video. And don't forget to leave a comment below to let me know how you got on.